What's up? How you guys doing? Wait. Before you do anything, like and subscribe. Yeah? And leave us your comment, guys. We want to hear what you have to say. Two-way, remember two-way. Me to you, you to me. Let's talk, let's engage. You know? Anyway, my name is Seth. That's my name. Yeah? I want to do the spinner rocky, but it's not yet ready. So just give me a few episodes and I'll get it right, to like the, just for you guys. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video in the last episode. If you haven't, go check it out. Go check it out. There's lots of gold there. Go check it out. Okay. So I want to cover some things which I think are going to be some nice lessons for you. Yeah. Nice lessons so that, you don't have to go through the mess that we went through, as mentioned, right? In a simple and relatable manner. Yeah. Okay, cool. So there's 3 lessons which I wanted to emphasize for this specific episode or the previous specific episode. Yeah? All right. Lesson number one. Very, very important. I don't know what tshepang is going to put this over here, whatever. Right? Lesson number 1, very, very key, is this. Have as many options as possible. Right? This is the reason why I'm saying this. Whenever you go into a deal, ensure that you spend your time, right, to know the area, to see as many options by way of properties as possible. Why do I say this? Because most of us, whether we like to admit it or not, right, if we only have one option, we get overly committed and overly invested in one deal. And what happens? We figure it out. We become needy, and the dealer's like, dude, come on, man. Come on, right? And as a result, the seller sees that, and you're less likely to get the outcome that you want from the deal, It's exactly the same, like, when we were in high school or varsity, some of us, yeah? And there was this one beautiful girl that you liked, and because you didn't, spend time with other girls, you started acting needy, and as a result, you kind of freaked her out, and then she thought she was of higher value, and you ended up messing it up for yourself anyway. This is exactly the same. Issue, right? This is exactly the same, right? The more options that you can have in the property, the better things are for you. One, you're learning about the game, you're learning about the area, right? You're getting more exposure, and as such, you're better able to determine whether a property is good or not. But third and most importantly is the fact that when negotiating, you are less likely to be needy and overly committed and invested in the property, and less likely to overpay or make mistakes when dealing with the property. Okay, so that's number 1. Now, number 2, negotiate smart, guys. Negotiate smart. Stop fighting for pennies. Woo! That one gets me. Oof. Used to love that one. I used to love that one. See if you can get them to go down by another 5,000, another 50,000, another 2,000. And what happens? Seller gets frustrated with you and you lose goodwill. But more importantly, you're wasting time. Once you've decided to go after a property, you start setting everything else up to go after that property. Meaning the decision is already made. The funds, if there are some, are already allocated and reserved for that property. And what do? You start wasting time because you're trying to get more, and end up even putting the deal in jeopardy. So there's a simple way of dealing with this. Simple way, right? Get the seller to make concessions. That's an excellent way of negotiating. So instead of going for another 20,000, 5,000, or whatever your number is, look around you and say, what else could I get from this deal? What else could I negotiate for the seller to leave to me? In this case, as an example, right? We saw that we could potentially use the wardrobes because we were looking at using it for student accommodation. So we asked the seller, I was like, hey seller, why didn't you leave the wardrobes with us? You know, they're a bit old to carry them out. It's going to be a bit of a hassle. Rather leave them for us. And they said, cool. Not only that though, the seller had this amazing gas stove. You know, one of those fancy ones that you don't get in everyday use. Right? And they were like, dude, if you were to unhook this and do all of these things, it's going to be a hassle. Rather leave it for us, you know? And they did, and we ended up selling it. And then the last one we got was a bathtub. You know, what is the likelihood of the seller needing the same bathtub in the new place? Unlikely. So it didn't really cost him anything, and it looked nice. You know, it's one of those ones with the legs. You know, ones that really look nice. You know, not attached to the wall. You know, freestanding. You know, the ones that you see in those commercials. You know, those. You know, what are they? Dove commercials, you know, those really nice fancy ones. We knew that we could sell this and we could sell this for a good price. Sorry. Right? And that's what happened. Right? He left it for us. Now if you start counting the value of what we got by way of concessions, we started to make a bit more money than what we had on the contract. Okay? So number 2 is this. Don't fight for pennies, negotiate smart, and focus on the concessions. What other ways can you get value from the seller? Yeah? All right. Number 3. This is very important. All right? Over time, you learn that, you know, you need to protect yourself. You know? You need to protect yourself and ensure that, you know what, should anything go sideways in terms of the deal, you're protected. Right? And you are taught different types of conditions. You know, you must put in this condition. You must also put in that condition. You must also put in that one, and 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 that one. What happens? The seller and the agent, in some instances, look at him like, this is ridiculous, right? You're not serious about making this deal happen. That's why you're looking for, like, you know, exits or whatever. And as a result, you end up losing the deal, or you lose goodwill from either of them, right? So instead of having like 2 pages worth of conditions, have 1 or 2, but very strong conditions that are reasonable, right? If you want to know the specific one I used, happy to share it with you. Just comment with your details and I'll get back to you. Anyway, the idea is this, right? Instead of coming up with a list of conditions, suspensive conditions to put on the offer 2 pages, rather focus on 1 or 2 very strong ones, ones that cover as many areas as possible, right? And that cover you without you being excessive in terms of the conditions that you have to make the deal happen. Okay? And that's exactly what we did. And as I mentioned, if you want to know what we wrote, get in touch with us. Okay? Let's do a quick recap. Yeah? 3 key lessons from this episode. First one, always have options. And this one is simple, you know. Whenever you're thinking of focusing on one property, ask yourself this. Do I want to become a needy investor? Why? Because if you are needy, you're not effective. And if you're not effective, you're not adding to your bottom line. The reason why you're doing all of this in the first place. Okay. Number 2 is this. Negotiate smart. Right? And stop fighting for pennies. Right? Always ask yourself, how can I get something by way of concessions, by way of an additional value add to the deal that is not necessarily money. Okay? And then the last one is simple. Have strong clauses in your offer to purchase. Yeah? Don't do 2 pages. Not necessary, you know. You're freaking people out unnecessarily, you know. Just have 1 or 2 very strong ones that will protect you. And these are not just any type of conditions. These are suspensive conditions, meaning if they don't happen, the deal doesn't happen. Yeah? All right. Hope you guys learned something today. And don't forget to like, and subscribe. But more importantly, for me personally, say something, comment, yeah? This way it's for me to you, yeah? You know what I mean, yeah? All right, ciao.